right. Well, look, I'm gonna start. It's gonna be just like a production. I'm about to three, two, one this thing, you know, and then
All
I'm
right,
going.
let me get
Yeah.
away from kids. Crazy over here, I tell you. All
So,
right, I'm good.
uh,
I'm ready when y'all are.
cool deal. I know when to start at 3:45. Yeah, go. What's up? What's up with the culture? I don't know. You tell me. What's up, peeps? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? I'm just on here with a bunch of great guys. I mean, we're gonna just have a conversation. It's just fun to do that. First off, I got my guy Kerry Chavis on here. What's up, my brother?
Hey, bro, how are you?
Man, nothing much, man. I appreciate you being on. Got my brother Thomas on here. Duke, what's up, brother?
Yo, what up?
Man, yes, sir. And last but not least, Mr. Shannon Weeks. What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
Nothing much, nothing much. So I guess I'm gonna do this real quick. You guys just give yourselves a brief like intro to yourselves. I guess. I mean, I don't have any like background music yet. I'm working on that part, and I could put it on y'all for the different intro next time where it's like a batting. You know how they do in baseball. You go up to the plate, they got an intro for you. So, but I don't have that. So, Kerry, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody your name and everything like that.
So my name is Kerry Chavis. I run the Kerry Chavis Agency, which is the PR and marketing firm. I guess that's it.
Yeah, that was brief, but
Yeah,
geez,
you said
Hey,
brief.
you said keep it
brief.
quick.
dude, I
You
picked
said
up my
brief.
coffee, took a sip, you was done.
Yeah, man.
I mean, but the agency is going well though, right?
Thank you. Yeah, it's going really well. Going really, really well. We're up to about 20 clients right now, so we're doing really good. Doing good.
Nice.
Man, yeah, you killing it, dude. I
Thank
love
you. I
it. Love
appreciate
it
it.
for sure. Mr. Duke, brother, what's up, man? How you feeling, man? How's the fam? What you got for me, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What's up, everybody? My name's Thomas Duke. We actually met whenever I was at my previous job working at Five Star Nutrition. I was a district manager, so I oversaw a few different sales teams, got to take part in some leadership roles. Figured, 3 kids, was traveling a lot, moved back home. Now I'm currently the sales manager over at Henderson Implement Marine.
Man, that sound dope. Sound dope. Sound dope to me. Mr. Shannon.
What's up, guys? I'm Shannon. I play keyboard at Water's Edge and for a band called Recharge Worship. We got 2 albums on Spotify. Probably half of one is good. And I got a loud mouth on social media.
It's okay. That's pretty much I'm not gonna say all of us, but yeah, we're pretty much all in that boat. But man, look, I just want the guys. This podcast is about. I brought some 3 cool dudes that I think that's pretty dope to me. I mean, I follow them all differently, see how they move, see how they talk, see how they operate as a family, and how they are like just as people first. Because I'm always about people. I'm of course the kingdom Christian guy. You know what I mean? I love that part of it. And I also just love that we can come together, have conversation, have dialogue about an issue that people seem to have. It seemed to be so hard for a lot of people, guys. I don't understand, but it seems hard to comprehend on certain issues. But I feel like this one right here is not too much of a flip flop. It's like it's just something that should have been solved a long time ago.
Hmm.
But anyways, let's just go ahead and go at it. What about what we got? George Floyd, rest in peace to the king, young man, grown man, man, rest in peace to him, man. And what happened to him and that moment and what just changed and what sparked a generation and a movement to this day. What can you guys say initially just to the reaction of what you saw when you saw the video? Like what did that do to you? Shannon, you can start it off with.
I mean, when I first saw that video, genuinely, like the first thing that went through my brain was like, at what point is it okay to like confront a cop? Like, put yourself between a policeman and a person without having to like fear about going to prison or something. Like it was so hard to watch that 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes of someone like slowly dying because of a cop. Like I don't know, it was really hard to watch. It was gross.
Yeah. Care, you care.
So when I didn't watch it at first, it took me about 2 weeks to watch it because I think we've seen this before, right? We've seen Mike Brown, we've seen Sean Bell, Tamir Rice, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, and the list goes on of African American men who've been killed by police officers over and over again. So it's a trigger for me. So I don't watch it too often, but I finally watched it. And I was like, okay, let me watch it. I watched it, and in that moment, I realized that we still haven't got it in America. That after all these cases of African American men who were killed literally for being black, we still haven't got it. We still haven't received the message that it's not okay. And to see a police officer like literally stand for, like you said, almost 9 minutes with blood shooting out of his nose, with people literally telling him to like he's dying, with him literally saying my stomach hurts, my head hurts, and scream for his mother, who's also dead, almost like his soul leaving his body. He's waiting for his mother to come get him. It was a lot for me to watch. But it made me realize that we still don't get it. We still haven't realized it. So
Woo, sheesh. You right on the money, my brother. Tommy, what about you, man?
Man, honestly, I've seen the clip, and I've seen clips of the clip. It's been very difficult for me to watch as well. First initial thought that came to my mind, and it sounds kind of grim and pessimistic, but it was honestly like, oh, okay, this again, like, is it the same as it has been? You know, is this the 5 minutes of fame, and then we're moving on to something else and forgetting about it, and the cop goes back to his job after a few months of paid suspension? You know, it really, to be honest, man, I as far as my faith in humanity, when I saw that, it drastically decreased. I mean, and now that's shifted a lot, you know, seeing the movement and the unity and protesters and people peacefully, you know, being activists. Faith in humanity is definitely at an all-time high now. But initially, I thought, is this another one of those? Is this another one? You know?
Yeah,
and I was disgusted.
Yeah. And that's what it seems to be. It seems like we just keep having hashtags, keep seeming like we keep having a wave. And what's crazy, it seemed like we just got off of Ahmaud Arbery. It felt like that one with the guy jogging around the neighborhood to get shot. It seemed like, I felt like as a community and people, we was just like, oh my goodness, here go Ahmaud Arbery, you know, 2 weeks ago, which was technically 2 months ago, you know, and then you see this go down and you frustrated and backdoor, and you like, wait, this another one?
Also, just a couple of weeks ago, we had Breonna Taylor too, an unarmed black woman who was literally in her house. Did a no-knock warrant, walked in her house and shot her 9 times. So in between Ahmaud and in between Floyd, we had Breonna. So that's like in a 2-month period.
2-month period.
Yeah,
so crazy. Imagine when it got to this point, I felt like all we're seeing today is a tipping point that happened. And we're seeing a outcry of people, or us as humanity, or black humans, or whatever the case is. For us, we're seeing like you can see it in DC with them putting the Black Lives Matter on the wall, on the ground, and putting it in a thing. It became something so huge. It's almost historic where we're at right now. Yeah. So hopefully in this thing we're galvanizing great conversation, which is what is this. And so Kerry, like Duke was just saying, how do we move forward? Like how do you take the situation and say, hey, it's time to move it forward?
So I think what's different in this situation that hasn't happened in a larger number in the past is that white people are tired, right? So black people have lived with this for years, and we go through it every day. But I think until people who have a voice, who have privilege, get tired, nothing happens. So white people are literally saying that we're sick of the racism. So what happens across the United States is you see these movements of not just black people protesting, but white people and people of all colors. So they're standing up for black people. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful because it's saying that it's the people versus the system. It's not black folks versus white people. That's not what's happening right now. Yeah. We have the people, all people together who believe in humanity, who believe in free will, and believe that this isn't the right thing to do, coming together to say that this system isn't working for black people. And I think that's a beautiful thing to see. But I think what has to happen now is, now that we have the ears of the government and of people in power, it's time to start galvanizing and developing like actual plans of action, right? So like we need voices. We need people to listen to black people and what they've been going through. We also need to we need opportunities. We need opportunities that actually lead to functional opportunities for black people, not just like ornamental stuff. Like we're going to do this and make sure this happen. We don't need just police officers being arrested for this. We need actual legislation that causes the chokehold to not happen anymore. So police officers to have actual like, what's the word I'm looking for? Actual training that actually try to deal with people, because I see that like when these African Americans are being pulled over, it seems like they don't understand how to deal with actual people. Like these are people at the end of the day, regardless of what you suspect them of doing. The job of officer, it should be to serve and to protect. And you can't serve and protect if you're scared of a black person.
So that feeling though, Kerry, feeling when you get pulled over by a cop, Do you really be scared for your life?
Yes.
Like, how do you
So
feel?
anytime, and I'm a person who's never been in trouble with the law ever. Anytime a cop gets behind me to this day, my anxiety goes on 10. Literally.
Wow.
I've had police officers follow me from my house all the way to downtown Lake Charles just to follow me and they drive off. I've had it happen multiple times.
Good Lord.
And that's
Yeah.
something that people who are not black males don't understand.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
it's never happened to you, then you can't get it. So that's why I say we need people that's going to listen to those stories.
Yeah, stories is the only way we're going to be able to
Right.
have conversation and change anything. Thomas, what about you, bro? What do you think that'll change this thing? What's your thoughts?
Man, I think my dude said it best. It's really like it's more than just. I mean, it's more than just white versus black. It's people versus the system.
Yeah.
I think now people are waking up and they've realized that the way the police, the amount of power that the police have, it gives them a pedestal to act on their dirty racist beliefs, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's not just it's more of, I'm trying to figure out how to word it, man. I made a post on my story the other day. I wish I would have written it down.
No, it's all good, brother.
I think that it's more if those people, whether they had a badge on or not, they have those racist thoughts, those dirty racist thoughts. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think now they're in a position to where they're able to exercise those in the form of police brutality against black men, against black women, against people in general, and they're able to do it without any
consequence,
without any reprimand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I think the system itself is broken. I agree. I think we need massive police reform, and as far as training. I know that some cities, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I know that some cities have talked about doing some defunding as far as police are concerned and sending out actual medical professionals to certain calls. And just to kind of piggyback on what you said, man, I have a lot of black friends who have also said the same thing. You know, they're scared, you know, cops get behind them, things like that. Just to give a little background on myself, I am a white male, and I have been in various instances in trouble with police, one of which led to unwarranted police brutality. Even after that, you know, I get nervous when I get pulled over, but I couldn't imagine what, you know, a black man feels after watching black brothers and sisters getting killed on TV by police when they get a cop behind them.
Yeah. Man, what about you, Shannon? What you think, brother?
Man, I'm way on board with all that. Like, I saw Minneapolis is their board is talking about defunding the police and finding alternative solutions to most 911 calls. Because, like, let's be honest, most of the time you don't need a gun for a 911 call. You don't need to have a gun on you because there was a car accident. You know, like it's unnecessary. And there are some other things like citizen accountability boards instead of the police policing themselves, because of course they're going to protect each other if they can. There was a guy at the rally on Sunday on Enterprise and Broad that said he can't blame the police for protecting their own. The black community does it too. And he said, of course they're going to do it. We need to have citizen accountability boards for any instance of police brutality. If your body camera is turned off and somebody is injured or killed, you need to be held accountable for that. If you cover your badge number, that's unacceptable. That needs to be an immediate fireable offense. There's just so many things that we can do to make police accountable that we're not doing at all. And you can tell when you look at our police brutality numbers. Like, other countries don't have this issue at the same scale as we do. We're killing thousands of people a year with the weapon of our police, and that's just not happening in other countries because they know there's no reason for a cop to need a shotgun except in very specific instances. There's a SWAT team for that. Like, street cops almost never need a gun.
Yeah, that is facts, man. And Thomas, I want to go back to yours. You said some sorts of police brutality, man. How's that going? Like, how's that story, or what was that about?
Man, it was a number of years ago. I'm from Shreveport, North Louisiana, and
Ratchet City. Watch out.
Yeah, Ratchet City, 318 represent.
Yes, sir.
Little Detroit on the map. No, we were at a Mardi Gras parade, and I was probably 19, and I was with a group of obvious, you know, underage drinking, parties, Mardi Gras, whatnot. Cops knew Mardi Gras. Cops knew that about the area. one of my friends, they had come and told us to turn the music down and walked off. One of my friends yelled out an explicitive to them, upon which time, and they shouldn't have done that. It wasn't the smartest
Right.
move, but we're 19-year-old drunk kids at Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And they turn around and they commence in grabbing a couple of my friends and start like manhandling them, when I thought was unwarranted. So I'm on the top of the truck at the time, and I start screaming out, "Hey, somebody grab a camera!" Yelling, "Grab a camera! Film this! Film this!" I jump down. I'm like yelling for somebody to grab a camera.
For your friend?
Yeah, to film my friend getting beat down.
Is it a black man?
No, it was a white guy.
Oh my goodness!
It was actually white cops on white. Actually, it was multiple race cops on white guys, I believe.
Speaks back to the system thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so as I'm yelling this, I look over, and a cop shoots his baton out and begins to rap me with his baton multiple times. Another one joined in, held my hands up saying I'm not resisting. There was camera evidence of it. It was too dark. You could hear it. You could hear the slaps of the batons. You could hear me say I'm not resisting, but too dark for any visual evidence. Turned it over to internal affairs, hired an attorney.
Sheesh.
Apparently, when the cops investigate themselves with internal affairs, they're always going to win.
Yeah.
So because my 30 plus witnesses were all underage and drinking, none of their accounts, I guess, carried enough weight.
Yeah.
And they didn't see what they saw, which was me getting beat with batons with my hands up.
Yeah. Sheesh, dude. That's crazy. I remember, and I never really told anybody the story. I think I talked to Carrie a little bit about it, but I've got pulled over many a times. You guys, it's just I remember before I got the car that I had now, I just had a car that looked like it was suspicious, yo. They would pull me over. Don't get me started on McNeese Police because I got a separate segment for them myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't get me started. They're policing one block and they policing that joker with excellence. They trying their best. I'm like, y'all got one block and y'all gonna keep pulling me over, yo. Y'all got one block, yo. Leave me alone, That's a side note to McNeese Police. Don't give me. All right, that's a side note to them. But no, for real, and I had incidents with a state trooper. I literally was working at Chase before I did edible arrangements, and I used to. My mom went out of town, so I was like, man, I'm gonna take her car. She has an Audi, so I got a suit on. I'm going to work at Chase. I'm a banker, and I got an Audi. It's like 7 a.m. I'm busting out, and I get put over for a seatbelt ticket. I just left my house. Ain't nobody got no seatbelt on. Anybody want to hear that? I put as soon as I get in the car, the first thing I do is I check my rearview mirrors. No, ain't nobody do that. I get in my car and I go. I don't do all that extra stuff. So, but I got pulled over. I take the seatbelt ticket, and as I'm doing it, the guy got out the car with a microphone. Get out the car and show me your license. And I'm like, holy crap, what the world?
Jeez.
So I get out the car and I'm like, all right. Next thing he said was what? Show me your license. My license is normally in my back pocket. So let me reach for my license. And when I reached for my license, I had a gun pulled on me by an officer because he thought that I had a gun. And I'm like, man, do I look like, 007? I got a suit on. I don't know if I look like an assassin or whatever the case is. I'm like, yo, I got a suit. And you think I'm out here with a gun? And like, bro, what kind of mission work you think I'm doing? And then he had the nerve to come up to me and say, man, it could have been dangerous for both of us.
Good Lord.
Both of us, both of us. How could you would have lost your job? Maybe. And then my mom would have came back with no son. She was out of town.
Yep.
So, over a seatbelt ticket, yo. And I never really told nobody, but the guy was black too. He was a black cop, And it was just like, it tells you that the system is so doggone jacked that it even got people not even understanding what they is. Like you said, it is a bigger issue because racism is something that that's real deep. Like how to that point is a different nature, but the system of police brutality is a whole separate issue when it comes to police reform and having stuff done on their end too. But racism is a definite start, don't you think, Karen?
So let me stop you there. So I don't think that we're solely dealing with a racism issue, more like we're dealing with a attitudinal barrier, right? So like,
what are you thinking?
So Emmett Till, James Byrd Jr., who was killed in Texas, who was dragged by a car, in the late 90s. Trayvon Martin were all not killed by police officers, right? So they were killed by people who fear black people, right? Literally, so there's this attitudinal barrier in America that like no matter what race you are, black, white, or whatever, we've built this idea that black people should be feared. Yeah. So thus, when people have interactions with black people, specifically black males, they fear them. So that's the problem, and that's a bigger issue that's harder to fix. that we're not
Yeah.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Since we can get rid of every cop in America, replace them with all new cops, and we still have the same problem.
Right.
Because it's an attitudinal barrier. It's not really just like a racism
That's
issue.
good.
Right.
So, and that's a bigger problem. That's harder. That's way harder to fix because it means that when you deal with interaction with black males, you fear them. I see it all the time working in the industries that I've worked in corporate America. White males who fear black males excellent sometimes, our intelligence, our
Jealousy.
education, and it becomes this attitudinal barrier.
Yep.
So we can't interact because of that instance. I worked in a district attorney's office for the past 3 years, and I've seen some things that would probably make your skin crawl. And I was the only black male in the room in a lot of instances. So it was some very tough conversations. I'm very excited to not be doing that work anymore. Very excited not to be doing it. Go ahead, Rolin.
No, you good. You good. You can finish up what you're saying.
I was just saying, like, I think that's the bigger issue. Like, racism is a major issue in America, but at the point that black people fear black people, we got a bigger issue, a bigger problem in America.
Which is crazy. And my thing is, so why is it? And I can start off with you, Thomas. Why is it that some people are Duke? You know what I'm saying? I just see the name on here.
Yeah.
Duke. My bad, brother.
You're good.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever. But why is it that some people have it a hard time to even get the Black Lives Matter concept? And when I say people, I want to say specifically the diverse group of people, white people sometimes.
You can say white people, Rolin.
I just make sure
it's okay to say it.
correct. Why do some of them, think that, okay, it's hard to say Black Lives Matter, even though we understand. Let me get this on the record. I don't know if everybody needs to know this or not, but I'm going to give them the news flash. We all know that all lives matter. First of all, you don't need to be a rocket scientist. You do not need to be any of this other stuff to know that all lives matter.
Yeah.
But at this particular juncture, we're talking about Black lives. So all lives matter cannot work if Black Lives Matters have not been incorporated into the all lives matter category.
Yep.
So you gotta break it down. But anyways, why is it so hard for some people to grasp that concept? Do you think they keep trying to make it political, Duke, or you think what's the deal?
I think it comes down to ignorance. I mean, I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. Like, yeah, of course, people are making it political, just like they make everything else. They feel like they have to pick one side to sit on, and if I'm on this side and you're on that side, then we're enemies. But I think it goes deeper than that, man. I don't want to say hereditary, but it's generational. It's about how our kids are being raised. You know, I mean, that's how deep set some of these people's issues, their fears, their racism, whatever you want to call it, it's instilled in them from, young in life, like elementary school, and I think it's all, I don't want to use the excuse like it's all they've known, because anybody can change, but it's been their mindset, their frame of thought for so long that they choose not to say it any other way. I choose to raise my kids just how I was raised, which is you grew up and you I'll be your bumper rails, but you make your own decisions. And my grandparents on both sides, they raised my parents. They were racist. My grandpa is a racist. The shit he said, or excuse me, the stuff he says it'd make you cringe. It'd make you cringe.
Yeah.
And but my mom grew up. She said, you know what? I'm not going to raise my kids like that. I'm going to let them make their own decisions. So she did. And I think it's really just about how we're bringing up our kids. I think that's going to be, like I said, it's a culmination of a lot of things, but that's where it starts, obviously.
Yeah, man. And bro, with that, so like, how's that work by letting you have that thought process? You think freer now because of that, or you feel like,
yeah, dude, I draw my own conclusions, you know? I mean, and everybody's going to have, I feel like no matter what you have some sort of, I don't want to use the word prejudice, but of any situation, I don't want to say people, but any situations, like you go in, you have preconceived notions before you talk to somebody, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? Wow. You look at somebody, you look at how they're dressed. I think we're going to have that no matter what, but like I try and act as everybody, there is one skin color. You know what I mean? It doesn't, it's, I'm going to try and draw, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm going to draw the same conclusions regardless.
Right.
You know, if you're a white guy and you're acting like an idiot, guess what? You're an idiot. If you're a black guy, you're acting like an idiot. You're an idiot. You're not a white idiot. You're not a black idiot. You're just an idiot.
So I think I can tell you exactly why people don't want to, or why people say all lives matter.
And look, also, I want you to address something else that was in the midst of that too. because I was gonna come to you with this question behind it, but I want you to address both. One of them is that one why people say all lives matter, and the other one is, how do we try to get to those conversations that's deep like that, like get to that when I guess when white people meet up to have conversations on their own, like how do we get to those nitty gritty tough conversations? Is it something that you just be like, I don't want to bring up, or it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Okay, so first I'm going to answer why people say all lives matter. Don't let me forget the
do that.
second question. People
Gotcha.
say all lives matter because in order to say Black Lives Matter, you have to be specific. You have to confront your racism. People don't want to say Black Lives Matter because they don't actually believe it. They say all lives matter because they can make that a general term, and then they can just, they can exclude in their mind whoever they want to exclude, and they sound like they still care about everyone. They don't
Like they're
have
not
to
publicly pick.
right,
They're
right,
not
right.
publicly picking a side. Is what you're
Exactly.
saying.
They don't have to
Yeah.
actually confront their racism. I'm going to tell you a story,
Eesh.
and it's kind of transparent of me, and whatever. Several
It's
years
okay.
ago, I'm in my car, and this is really when my eyes started to open. I'm in my car. My mom didn't raise us to be racist. I literally have blood siblings that are black. Whatever. She didn't raise us to be racist. Society did it to me. But
Yeah, it could do
I'm
it.
sitting in my car, and a black guy, he's dressed well, walks near my car, and I locked the door. And I stopped for a second, and I was like, why did I just do that? Would I have done that if he wasn't black? I don't think I would have. So at that moment, like
Right.
I had to sit there and confront my own racism, and it was uncomfortable, and it sucks to have to look at yourself and say, "That's really crappy of me." But
Yeah.
like you have to do that, and when you say all lives matter, you can ignore that issue. You don't have to do it. You don't have to confront your own racism if you say all lives matter.
Sheesh, boy. That first of all, that's amazing. Good. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Good story. I mean, it's authentic. That's what this podcast is about. And I don't think it could be racism. It could be anything inside of us that may be like causing us to do certain preconceived things,
Mm-hmm.
and we may not even know the situation, but we automatically, they always say that never judge a book by its cover, right?
Yep.
But a lot of people really judge the book by their cover
Oh,
if we think about it.
100%.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And even I'm over here with the edible arrangements in my store and everything like that. Like I literally wear hoods and all kind of stuff over here. I swear I don't dress sometimes like appropriate like I'm supposed to. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I really don't.
So
I
what
don't.
what
I
what,
don't
what is
care.
appropriate? Let me ask you that, Rolin. What
Exactly.
is appropriate?
And
Like
exactly what I want to get to, Carrie. And exactly what I want to get to. My appropriate is whatever my appropriate is
Right.
for
to be correct,
my
correct.
business at the end of the day. And my family business. I wish shout
Yeah,
out to the fam. But that's how I feel sometimes. I don't want to ever conform into
yeah.
a perception or somebody else's reality or thought of me. I want them to just see, man, this is a great guy. Cause I think what you just said, Shannon, is kind of like I said, perfect the book and the cover thing, whatever. But like most people they won't see that Rolin Piper, you're a businessman.
Right.
They'll say first you're black,
Right.
then
Yeah.
you're a
You're
businessman.
a
And it's
black
like, what?
businessman.
Yeah, you're a black businessman. And in my thing, the way I'm raising my kids, Duke, is basically like you're gonna be the best anything. I don't want you to be the best black this, the best any. I don't want you to be that. I want you to be the best overall businessman. I want you to be the best black businessman. Even though ain't nothing wrong with that. I appreciate it, but I'd rather be the best. Period. I don't want to put myself
So
in
can I
a
say
capsule,
something? Can I say
in a
something?
subconscious. Yeah.
So I want to say real quick. I've talked to a lot of people about this whole I don't see color when I see people. When I see
Yeah.
you, Carrie, I don't see a black person. And for me, as a former teacher who mentors still black males, I always tell them make sure that when you walk in a room, that I want the first thing that you see in me is that I'm black. I want you to see that I'm brilliant. I want you to see that I'm educated. That I have like a sense of awareness of like people around me. But I want you to see that I'm black because for so long in our society, I think the all life matters thing comes from the idea that like when the Constitution was formed and it talked about having the people pursuing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Black people were slaves at that time, right? So like everything that happened after that, it didn't encompass black people sitting at the table. The
Right.
table where power happens. Black people have never really been there. The first time we saw power really in the country was Barack Obama in 2008 being the president. And before that time, when people said you could be president of the United States, for most black boys, we didn't believe that because we
Yep.
saw nothing that looked like that for us. So the idea for me, I'm proud of being a black male. I'm proud of being
Yeah.
educated. I'm proud of the things that I've accomplished in life. And I want people when you see me to see that I am educated and a black male because it sets a tone for young black brothers coming behind me.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's kind of the way I look at
Well,
it.
And the same thing token for me, Carrie, what you
Hmm.
said is basically for me, like being kingdom minded.
I
God
got
didn't
you.
make us all to look the same way,
Right.
anyways. You know what
Correct.
I mean? He
Correct.
if he wanted us all to look the same, you know what I mean, then we would all look the same. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? At the end
Got
of the
you.
day. So
It's
my
good.
point is like if we're all here, he created us to have unique differences with each other, even in
No
twins.
matter what.
Twins,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you look at a twin long enough, you're gonna know the difference between the two twins because you're gonna
Yeah.
find something different between them because he made us that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think our nature is to
Yeah.
definitely look at that. Yeah, definitely, and enjoy seeing the color because he made it. He gave it to us, and enjoy seeing whatever. And you don't and like if people appreciate it, it's okay.
Yep.
It's okay. But at the same token, not in a way where you feel like one is supreme or superior
Right.
Correct.
than the
Agree.
Correct.
other
Yeah,
color.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. As long as
I
it's
agree.
looked at like we're not above everything, because I could
Yeah.
be proud that I'm white. I have a lot of
Hmm.
pride that I'm white, and some people might view that automatically as me being racist because it's now a white person with pride in his skin color. And I agree. I think you should be proud of who you are as long as you know that we're all equal in the long run, and that goes for white,
Yep.
black, and everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I,
And Shannon, so yeah, I didn't forget about the question. Go ahead and hit that up, man.
real quick, I think I don't see color is the same thing as all lives matter. It's so that you don't have to be specific and
The
confront.
conversation. Yeah.
Right, and you just get to erase someone's culture and someone's background and pretend that they're not different than you at all, which isn't
Yeah.
true. Like black people have their own culture and it should be celebrated. You shouldn't erase that just because you don't want to look at it. But anyways, how we
Black
have Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say black history has been taken out of schools.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I was about Black history staying in school, and I'm also about the prayer staying in school. That's me personally.
Mhm.
It's a little bit of both. Like my thing is you like that is a part of history that needs to be stayed in school. Like I learned, I remember growing up. That's why I learned most of my Black history was going to class, and it was a class title, Black history. So I went to Black history course. And I
It's
think
insane
that
that we never
it's
learned
not like
about
a oh my gosh, I don't want to go there. They're going to talk about that.
It's insane that we never learned about Black Wall Street in school.
Mm.
Oh,
That's
Right.
absurd to me.
Agreed.
yeah. Yeah. Now everybody go look up Black Wall Street. We don't have time for it right now, but go look it up. It's definitely
And
a time.
I think
Go
just
look
the,
it up.
the
But go
point the
ahead.
point that he just
Address.
made is really important. So we talk about like we've learned Black history in school, and like the older we got, the more we realized that like the Black history that we learned was a watered down image of what people wanted people to think that Black history was. It was like Dr. King, it was Rosa Parks, but it
Mhm.
wasn't really like what really created Black awareness and those type of things. So,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate
Yeah.
as well.
And we also get
I would
to
encourage everybody to go.
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Shannon.
Oh, we get to whitewash Martin Luther King and Rosa
Right.
Parks and ignore like Malcolm X and other
Yeah,
other
the
people
Black
that
Panthers.
the
yeah,
one the parts that make us uncomfortable.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And yeah. And that's the beauty of this is I like how you said uncomfortable because that's the majority of that so how do y'all have the uncomfortable conversations when we're not around? Because I think the biggest change happens between white people and white people when y'all have
Yes.
the conversation with each other and addressing it because we've been harking at it for 400 plus years. I
Yeah.
don't know what more do we want to even say on our side of it. I don't know how much more we could actually plead, and I think that's what's making the biggest movement today is that like Carrie said, a lot of people it's more of a everybody issue more than just the Black people
Right.
issue, and that's the problem that we have to get to. But I think that the real tough conversations is gonna come between white people. Why is that so hard, Danny?
So the issue here is that racist people aren't going to listen to black people, so it has to be between white people and white people. But white people, if you start to have that conversation with your racist family, it's going to make them uncomfortable and they're immediately going to feel like they're being attacked. And so for instance, if my mom was racist, and I said, "Hey, you're racist and this is why," she's immediately going to go on the defensive. And that's a hard conversation to have because I don't want to be uncomfortable with my mom and be attacking my mom, and she doesn't want to be feeling she doesn't want to feel like she's being attacked. But like, it kind of doesn't matter at this point. Like we shouldn't still be having these issues, and the conversations have to happen, and they're gonna be tough. I have a friend that just spent like 4 hours the other day with her parents saying, "Hey, growing up, there were a lot of racist things that happened. Currently, there's still a lot of racist things that you do and racist ideas that you have and racist ideas that you taught us. and that's not okay. And they had like a 4-hour conversation,
Mm,
and everyone was crying.
mm.
And at the end of it, they weren't like, you know what, you're right, we have to change. They were like, you know what, we're a little racist, and that's okay. Which, like, oh, is horrible conclusion for them to come to, but
It's a cringe.
it's a
It's a
step.
cringe.
It's a step in the right
It is
direction.
a
They're
step.
acknowledging
Yeah.
their behaviors that are bad, and
Yeah.
she's making them look at it. She's making them look it in the face. She's holding up a mirror to them and saying, "This is what you taught me, and it's not okay." And like
Yeah.
it's a hard step to make, but it's like people are dying.
That's the
Like
step needed.
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're uncomfortable. People are dying because of these like ideals.
Yeah.
Have the hard conversation. That's why I've been
Man.
putting all the videos you can find on Twitter right now of like police brutality against protesters. They're not making it to Facebook. I've been really intentional lately about putting them on Facebook because that's where all my family and friends are that don't want to look at it. They need to look at it. They need to be uncomfortable. They need to confront themselves. Like we have to have those conversations. There's no way around it.
Duke, what would you say about what he just said?
Man, I couldn't agree more. And as you were saying, I was trying to answer in my head. Like for me, honestly, in the past, I guess it, I'm just being transparent here. I guess it depends on who I was talking to. And what I mean by that is if I'm having this conversation with my 70-year-old grandpa who's been racist since been racist, and I know that no matter what I say, I'm not going to convert this guy. I'm not even going to open his eyes. Like he's well into his beliefs. So instead of playing into this negativity, I'm going to just avoid this altogether. Is that the right thing to do? Probably not, especially now looking at it. But is that the route that I've taken in the past with people like that, as far as in my family? I just assume we're not having these conversations or change the subject. Now, if I'm talking to other people, my peers, whatnot, who I feel like know me on a different level than my grandfather does, then they know pretty well that I'm pretty comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I like to talk about the uncomfortable stuff. I really like to bring up the not racist, like racy issues, like whatever it is that makes people uncomfortable. I like to talk about it, and I like to figure out where people stand and pick brains and look at all sides of the scenario. And so I guess to answer your question, man, like I should be taking that approach more often than I do.
Yeah.
But currently it's been just picking my audience on who I'm having that conversation with. Cause I know my beliefs. I know theirs. I know, like, it's like, am I going to convert? I hate to say it, but just kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Is like, I think your fears or your racial beliefs or whatever we want to call them are so deeply instilled that it's like, it's why they tell people don't talk about religion or politics at the dinner table, because you're not going to change the person's mind. It's just going to create a huge, massive argument. And I do agree that those arguments need to be had, but in the past at the dinner table, I've avoided them.
Yeah. I think that is honestly like white people's biggest issue is ignoring problems to maintain like the status quo, maintain our good relationship with each other. If we can just not talk about anything we disagree with and just keep things comfortable for everybody, we can keep going on. But that's why relationships are so shallow. We don't actually know each other. Like we go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was just piggybacking on you, man. Yeah, I find that the older I get, the more kids I have, the more life I experience, the more, I guess, the fewer cares I give, as far as what other people think. And like looking back now, it's like, man, I wish I would have had those conversations when I was 17 with my grandpa. Like, hey, this isn't right,
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, man, I agree.
Oh man. Yeah. Kerry, you had anything on all that?
Wow, I mean, that was a really, really interesting perspective. I mean, I've never heard it that way. Yeah. So I would say to you guys, and I would challenge you to have those tough conversations. But I agree with you that things won't change when it comes to racism, because like with people's ideologies, they've been ingrained in them for so long. So like racism to me is an inherent issue. So like we can't really like destroy or take away racism. What we can, however, do is create spaces for people who don't look like us, who are brilliant minds, to sit at that table, right? So I think it comes down to voting. It comes down to having those spaces and helping African Americans to get in those spaces, because as difficult as those conversations are for you guys to have with other people, when you decide not to have them and try to like fix those issues, Black people continue to have inherent problems, right? So like those issues continue to happen for Black people because white people who have privilege don't use that privilege to help other people who are hurting by those issues, which is Black people. So I would challenge you guys to have those conversations, but also work with other people like yourself who get it, who understand like this isn't right, this is a problem, and I have those conversations on how can we help our brothers and sisters who are Black to help to get to where we are right now. Because like I said, this race that we're in, like it's like if we're all on a track and running a race, white people were able to start like 20 minutes ahead of the race than Black people started, right? So we'll never be even. That like equality is not going to ever happen because we've never been even ever.
Right.
Like at the point that slavery happened and it was over, you literally freed slaves and told them like you're free, and they had nowhere to go, no kind of house, no type of money. They just were free.
Right.
So like there still was an inherent barrier for them to figure out how to fix things and how to make things right for their life. So
well, I'll tell you right now, I don't want to be the one to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Not all cops are bad. All right, we're gonna go down that list too. All right? 'Cause I feel like we destroyed them a little bit for a good little segment of this whole thing. Just want to let y'all throw that on the record. We know that all cops are not bad, okay? Because y'all gonna be like, man, what cops? They're just talking about cops. Swear, cops are not bad. Cops are good people.
It's not an individual police issue. It's a systemic issue.
Yeah. No, it's not the cop. I got my dad and my uncle. They was part-time sheriffs. My dad's a part-time sheriff, so he literally. I always talk about him. He only did the Rabbit Festival and he did the Burton Coliseum stuff. And you know how y'all had the police office to follow the football games and stuff. That's my dad. That was what he did. He ain't getting none of the big stuff. Part-time, just to get a concealed weapon. Amen. That's what I'm gonna tell you. But no. So I do understand. We know that because we do understand there are Black people that are officers, and we salute y'all because honestly, Kerry, if I'm speaking on the Black side of this whole thing or my people, I would honestly say that's the way to beat the system is to not only just join the system, but fight. Like I need more Black lawyers, bro. I need more people that's business on people that has the perspective of like said privilege or whatever the case is or power or positions to make sure they reach back, and I could just enjoy the fact on every Sunday night, 5:30, I used to do Passion with my church group. It was our youth church group, and majority of them kids was like 40, 50 Black kids, man, that was there most of the time. We had a lot of race, but most of it was Black kids that showed up, and we would go like to different parts of the neighborhood, and sometimes they would pick them up and bring them there to just talk to them and educate them. So when we talking to them, we're actually passing down knowledge, right? Like you talk about all the time. And I think that that's the biggest thing is for us to understand that y'all protesting is amazing. Martin Luther King did it. But why are we protesting? Martin Luther King protested so that we could vote. So now we have the option to vote. That's one thing. And then also, two, this is a different age. So it's time for us to actually strategize now. It's enough of the like what you think that keeps our people so I guess we get away from strategizing, Kerry. Like after these situations arise up, it's like we have certain people that's doing it, like Sean King, shout out to Sean King, and certain people like that that's doing the thing with the law. But what is it? I guess you think this is waking everybody up, but what do you think, kept us from strategizing so many times?
I think it comes and goes, and then life happens, right? So like a Black person dies, and then like life happens, and we kind of forget about it. But again, I think the difference in this instance right now in today's world is that white people are sick of racist white people or the attitude and the barrier. So when white people start getting sick of it, it causes all people to kind of come together of all races. Because when you look at the protesters, it's not just Black people out there; it's people of all colors coming together. So this whole melting pot that America has been,
but specifically, my people is who I want to talk to right now.
I got to. I'm gonna get to that point. So I think because it is white people who are sick and tired as well, it causes the situation to continue and continue and continue and continue. It's not just people saying like, because when Trayvon Martin died, when Alton Sterling died, people were saying like, if you don't resist the police, you won't die. And then so that whole idea was debunked because you saw people who were not resisting, like Philando Castile, who did not resist the police, die anyway. So when people start seeing that who are white and they're like, this doesn't make sense, this isn't right, it causes all people to see that, and then we start working together to fix those problems. But I think that we're at a point now where enough is enough, which is a good place to be in. I think until you get to that enough is enough point, things can't really change, right? So I'm hoping that it's going to cause different people to work together. So I think everybody do what they're best at. I'm good at using my voice, and get together. So do that. Like whatever you were good at doing at this point, someone needs
Whoa.
you to do it right now. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of, if y'all caught a little bit of that, I think it acted a little
Oh, yeah,
crazy. Yep.
there it goes.
Yep. There he goes. I don't know. His battery might have died. All right. So Kerry was saying some real stuff. He would probably already said it already, you guys. So don't worry about that part. He'll probably get back on in a few minutes. I think we kind of lost Kerry, guys, but it's okay. But guys, I honestly was just, I didn't pretty much have too much else. I was just gonna let everybody know that like for me, this whole thing is about, like you guys said, the tough conversations. It's about us sitting down together, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. It don't matter what the race is. It's us getting together, sitting down, and respecting each other's culture, and respecting the culture, and understanding each other's culture. And I don't think, how do we expect to change if we never sit down and understand each other's culture? Is the craziest thing to me.
Hmm.
Um, hold on. Yep. We see Carrie. Yep. But anyways, I think I had, yeah, y'all. Excuse me, everybody. I told y'all my podcast is real, genuine, and authentic. It's how I keep it. I literally, this is what I do. But also, I think I had one more question. I think, I don't know, because Carrie was on a stream, and I normally, like, I tell people how I think. When you say one thing, I have a thought about one thing, and then when somebody say something else, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I started thinking about something else. That's normally how this go. Oh shoot. Man, y'all give me a second, peeps. I think I want to say, if I can't come up with it, I'm going to wrap this podcast up, because I believe a lot of good has been said so far, and I think that is good enough. Honestly, well, I just appreciate you guys coming on. This is a tough conversation that a lot of people had to have, and we want to have. And like Kerry was saying, we're gonna strategize better when we have more people, and we can all come together and do that, and do what we need to do to advance the culture, advance the people, advance human rights, like we always say.
Hmm.
And for me, as a kingdom citizen, as a person, as a believer, I always try to show people what Christ would really be like in a moment right now. He would definitely be like, hey, let's all sit down and talk for a second. Let's talk for a second, and let's just see each other the way we're supposed to see. And any last words, Duke? Any last words, Shannon, before we let out?
Man, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on, man. It's been very eye opening, and I appreciate it. And I hope we start to see some positivity out there and some reform.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Shannon?
Yeah, just to summarize, white people specifically have the hard conversations, confront your own racism. Everyone get out and vote. Pay attention to local races, especially for your own police departments, but national races too are really important. And then I had one more thing, and I totally just blanked. But anyways,
It's okay. It happens.
have the hard conversation. That's super important.
Yeah. And I think, well, wait, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I think Carrie has re-entered. Carrie, we was about to sign off, man.
okay.
But we was about to sign off, but I kind of like finished up your last little piece in
Okay.
there for you. I kind of got what you said a little bit. It kind of going in and out as you finished it up.
Hmm.
Uh, but I pretty much summarized it up pretty
Cool,
much
cool.
what you was about, where you was headed. And I was basically telling him, any last words, Carrie, before we get off. Anything
Um,
you want to tell the people to educate everybody, or whatever the case is. What is your stance on everything, and how you wrap it up?
so I think it's imperative that we keep having these type of conversations, and not just with Black people, because again, Black people have been having these conversations since I was like 3. I've been hearing these conversations, so it's important for us to have these conversations with our brothers who are different races, and to not just have the conversations, but think about after the conversation's over, what can I do for humanity that can make things better, can make things better for our children, for our children's children, and for like future generations. What can we do so that we don't have another Black male or another person that's killed by people who have this attitudinal barrier? So I think that's what we should think about this week and work towards making that happen. So I appreciate the
Yeah,
conversation, fellas.
man, no, for sure. I mean, that's, like, you guys heard it from these three guys. I appreciate you guys, first of all, for coming on. I knew you guys all had amazing personalities, and y'all had a great keen thing on insight. I look for people that, like, if you insightful, you would understand that certain stuff is, it should be easy to comprehend.
Yeah.
No slight to most people, but it's okay. Uh, all I'm saying is, in this moment, I want us to just think about each other.
Mm.
I want us to always care for each other and always look out, man. I appreciate you guys for coming on. Go subscribe, go like the podcast, do 5 stars, all of the good stuff. Leave your comments, reviews. We don't care. I don't care. It's we, but whatever. All right, you guys, thank you. Have a great day. Peace.
Black Lives Matter.